Hello and welcome to today's how-to video for parents. I'm Karen Lockcope. I am the founder of the We Turned Out Okay podcast and website. I'm a child development expert, and I'm here today to talk about how to get your child a really, really good education, how to start their education right, I guess. And the first thing that I want to establish is that you can give your child a good education or a good start towards their education. You can actually give them a good education. Um, I think sometimes we parents have this idea that I'm going to shop out my child's education to their teachers at school or whatever, and I don't have to worry about that. But the flip side of that, if that's one thing that you believe, the other side of that thing is that I'm not, that you might think to yourself, I'm not a good teacher. Like, I don't have anything to teach my child. And I think that I just would love for you to not look at it that way. In fact, I'd love for you to look at it the opposite way, that learning begins with you, with parents. And whether or not we think about this, and I don't want it to be a big fear, but we're always teaching something. We're always modeling something. We're always serving as a model for them to imitate and emulate, and that is really how their learning kind of begins. And so let's make sure that we're if we're going to be doing it anyway, let's make sure that we're doing it right. And hopefully this video will help you see the value in that and help you, give you some ideas about what you can do. And if you want more, you should listen to my podcast episode on this exact same subject. It is episode 277 of the show, and I believe it's called Where and When Does My Child's Education Begin? And it's located at WeTurnedOutOK.com/277. So there's three ways that I think about that you can help your young child, you can get their education started on the right track. I think of this as taking advantage of education beginning in the home with us parents. And the first way is to act naturally. That's right. I'm looking down at my notes here, and that's the first one I wanted you to think about, was that you don't have to do anything crazy or different or start some new plan or curriculum in your life. Just act naturally. Whatever you're doing naturally is going to be a good thing, particularly if you are naturally. And we can't always enjoy every moment of our lives, but if you can share that enjoyment and give your child that sense of connection and belonging, that's what you want. And the best way to do that is to be in the present moment without screens. So in other words, if you can start off by spending just a few minutes a day playing with your child, or just being with your child and seeing what they want to do and what they gravitate towards, without any screens, because screens can really, in this instance, screens can really be distracting. I think they're a wonderful tool, but I also think that they can disrupt the important bonds and connections that parents and children have. So if you're going to start with 10 minutes or half an hour or an hour of time per day where you are acting naturally and just enjoying being a family together, do it without any screens. That's my advice. Okay, so number two is, that's the screen-free one. Having trouble reading my own handwriting here. Okay, know that they are thinking beings. Our kids, as much as they don't seem like it, they are always, as I said before, they're always emulating, they're always imitating. But more than that, they are processing. They're trying to understand their world, and they can come to conclusions that are mistaken conclusions. But that's because they're always trying to set things in a context, and they just have such a limited context when they're so young. So know that they are thinking beings, and that's really an advantage, because you can have conversations with them, maybe not immediately, but you can hear their thoughts on the world. You can see what they're thinking based on what they want to do, what their interests are, and hopefully that helps you enjoy the time that you're acting naturally with them. But also, you don't have to do anything out that doesn't feel right for you. You can just be comfortable and spend time with your kiddos and know that they will learn, because they are thinking beings. Maybe not rational thinking beings, but thinking nonetheless. And then the third one is I want to give you a way to think of your kids. And this really kind of goes along with the thinking beings. I think that the best thing we can do, this idea comes from a book that I read quite a while ago by a man named David Albert. It was a group of essays, and the title of this particular essay was either Aliens from Another Planet or possibly Ambassadors from Another Planet. And the more I think about it, the more I think it's ambassadors, because what we want to do is we want to consider our children honored guests who know absolutely nothing about our society, so that we can say to them, if they do something wrong, for example, one of my kids once went up to a very overweight worker in a Papagino's restaurant, and he was about 3 years old, and he said in this incredibly congratulatory tone, he said, "Wow, you're really fat." And he thought everybody would be thrilled with this, right? And of course, all of us are horrified. He saw this woman's face just fall and crumple, and he looked around at me like, "What did I do? You know, what did I do wrong? Like, why is that a problem?" And um, instead of, I mean, it's very tempting to sort of yell or shout or punish in some way, because I wanted to show that, like, I'm an adult who's got a handle on this situation. But what I did instead was I apologized very profusely to the woman that this had happened to. And I just, I said, "I feel so bad that my son said that, and I'm really, really sorry." And then I turned back to him, and we sort of started talking about, like, why you can't say things like that. And he didn't understand it, but he understood the reaction that he got, and that was enough to help him realize that there was something here he wasn't seeing, and he didn't understand it quite yet. And so, but if I had punished him instead of treating him like an honored guest from another planet, it could have gone down very differently. And I think the most important thing there was establishing that we all make mistakes sometimes, and that, yes, this was a mistake, but we are going to move past it and acknowledge that, and apologize to the person that we offended, and just try and learn from it. And if you can think of your child as a visiting ambassador from another planet who knows absolutely nothing about what's going on this planet, it'll go a long way towards continuing to establish a connection between you, because you're not alienating your child by pushing them away or punishing them or whatever. But it also will help them trust you to be able to ask questions, and know that you're going to try and help them as best they can to help them fit into this society that they know nothing about. So so those are the three ways I want you to think about acting naturally, screen-free, and being present in the moment. I want you to think about your understanding that your child is a thinking being, and that that's good for learning. And thirdly, treat your child like an ambassador from another planet, so that you can frame things differently and understand that they're not doing what they do to bug you. They're doing what they do because they don't know what else to do, because they're doing the best that they can. So hopefully this has been a helpful one. Again, go listen to the podcast episode, the corresponding podcast episode, which is located at WeTurnedOutOK.com/377. You can click the link right in these show notes, actually. And finally, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, you got something out of it, please hit the like button. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you will get a notification whenever I go live, which is kind of fun. And finally, subscribe so that you never miss an episode. I do these every Thursday, generally speaking. And I'd love to have you here live for the next one. All right, cheers. See you later. Bye-bye.